Oh, hey everyone. You are listening to or watching another episode of the Scaling Deep podcast. And I'm going to talk to you today about some of the challenges that different kinds of people have when they're trying to come up with a membership idea that they feel confident it will last, or if they're struggling to grow their membership beyond the first few warm people who signed up for it and joined. And the reason why I wanted to share this is because I think this will help a lot of people try to figure out what the next steps for them are to really grow the program. So I'm looking at it in terms of what are the problems that these two categories of people have. These are both types of people that I serve really, really well, both in my private one-on-one packages and inside the Scaling Deep Society. And they are niche experts and coaches. But here's the thing about these two groups. They're actually a little bit different in terms of background and the problems that they have when trying to get their message and their program out to the world in a greater way in a one-to-many model. So whether it's a membership or any kind of course or program, they have slightly different challenges. Now there's all kinds of, technical challenges in terms of getting visibility and all that. But let's say that you come from a niche expert background. You know how to do something really, really well. You love a process, you have a deep level of expertise, or you could just really have a hobby that you're interested in and you just want to teach everyone what you've learned about it or create a community around this thing that you love teaching people. And it's a very specific thing. So that may sound like, wow, that's going to be a great type of membership idea. And it totally is, because you can come up with a community around that interest. You can teach it very clearly and very successfully, and you can gather more people who are interested in that thing. And that's probably something you're really passionate about and really good at. But the challenge you're going to run into is that you might be so advanced in what you do that you have a hard time explaining it on a really basic level, which is a huge, important part of being able to engage with and entice people into our programs, is by meeting them at their level, which is definitely a different than our level when we are experts in something. So when we know something really, really well, we forget the beginning phases of that journey, like the beginning phases of that journey. So for example, I'm a membership expert, so I know a lot of things about memberships. I've worked with a lot of people. I've run my own. I stay up on all the things and watch the trends and pay attention to the issues and the challenges that come up. And it's very difficult for me sometimes to remember what it's like to be starting a business from scratch, because there are a number of business owners out there who may have a client or two, but be very new to the online business building game. And I forget about all the millions of things that I do in my sleep now when it comes to growing online. I write copy easily. I can play around with design. I understand funnels. I can track numbers, all the things that come with success in the online business world, the things you need to pay attention to, because we're doing it all with tools and automation and apps and things like that. So we need to really pay attention to all those connecting things. And even that tech stack is easy for me now when it wasn't years and years ago. So that is an example of how I can be an expert in something like memberships, but then be so far along that I forget about the steps that come before even doing the membership thing, which is understanding the concept of value proposition and understanding that we're selling outcomes and not features and benefits and all those business truths that people might be grappling with and new to. So that's an example of an expert challenge. The other expert challenge is that we love teaching the thing, right? So we love, teaching how to do something, and we don't necessarily share our thoughts about it, our feelings about our journey, our struggle, or all the other nuances to doing something really well. It's not just about knowing something, how to do it, and being very linear about it. A lot of the important part of growing a following or being able to get the sale or enroll a new member or get just a new client relationship is about trust. And if we are following a path of, I'm an expert, I teach this thing, it's not always easy to convey that we are there for people when they are following this thing and they are worried that, well, I've followed these things before and gotten stuck, and then there's been no help, because that trust comes from people getting to know us on a more personal human level. So when we start just cranking out step 1, step 2, step 3, even where we're making it really clear and really detailed, that's not always enough for people to want to jump on board and follow us in our process of growth and development, which is often what we're selling in a membership. So, just to distinguish this here, when we're selling a membership, we're selling a long-term relationship. Our goal is to have people stay for quite a while. And that wouldn't be any different than having a new person join your list, buy something from you that's a one-off thing, and then buying the next thing from you, and then buying another thing from you. The difference between that and a membership is that you're selling it differently, but your goal is really the same, is that you want somebody to come onto your list or find out about you and start buying things from you and trust you long-term. We don't want a million people buying. Well, that would actually work too, having a million people buy something at $20. That's really difficult. What we do want, we want somebody buying something for $20 or $100 and then leveling up to the next program. I mean, that is really success, right? It's that customer experience and that journey when they want to stay with us for the long term. Now, membership is not that much different in that we are trying to have them make that decision month after month to stay or invest in some really big investment in the first place that might be an annual or lifetime access for the program. So we are doing that regularly. So we do want them to know us and trust us and feel like they believe that the way we're going to teach things now or in the future is always going to be benefiting them. Okay. So that is where being just an expert in something that's obsessed with the thing is going to struggle with that sharing of our personal approach, our beliefs, our opinions, sometimes our strong opinions, the things that we are against, and not just focus on the thing that people are there to learn. That's how we grow those relationships and get more people to buy into us. And then the coach's problem is a bit different. The coach's problem is that they can help anyone do anything. And because I'm also fall into this as a coach as well. I'm a business strategist. I was trained as a coach and a business strategist years and years ago. We know we can help anyone with an approach to serving people with where they're at and not wanting to prescribe one size fits all things to people who we know need something different than the next person. So it can be very challenging for us. And we really resist trying to come up with a roadmap or formula or path of growth towards a very consistent outcome that more than one person may want. So choosing that in the first place can be very difficult. That narrowing down to that niche, I know I really struggled with it, even coming into membership. So I was like, but what if they want something different? It's a lot of the same steps, especially when we work with people privately. So that can be difficult in the first place, and also getting clear on that outcome and starting to put our process down. Like, this is the best way to walk people through the steps to getting this outcome, and trying not to be all things to all people and being very vague with how we describe what we do for people and how we help them. And that's a problem, as that's going to make people really not sell. That's probably a worse place to be for selling a one-to-many program like a membership than an expert challenge. Now, there are people who are excellent at what they do in coaching, and they develop a reputation based on their approach. Like, They are full of knowledge. They are expressive in their beliefs, and share their stories of success and share their client stories. And people just love them. So that will work really well, especially if that's natural for you to explain the nuances and to share that kind of content with the world, because it's fascinating. People love to see behind the scenes. People love to know how things work. People want to hear people's opinions. That stuff is gold. But not having the outcome, not having that clear path, like, I can trust you that you're going to get me here, because we all know that we have joined coaching programs where we haven't gotten anywhere. And yes, it's been good to discuss things, but we haven't necessarily felt like we're moving enough towards a goal that was worth the investment, because what we really needed is to start working towards the goal. And obviously walked there nicely by someone who we liked having that relationship with, but having both is even better. So these are two different kinds of problems, and we have to work on them, and then bringing them together is the ultimate. So when we can decide on a very clear outcome that we can get for people, maybe we just have one program that gets this outcome, and we are also comfortable explaining the steps and the nuances to the steps and the opinions around it and the sharing the stories of it, then we can bring together a really strong value proposition that will be very compelling to people, because it's meeting them with all their fears and doubts and making them feel like, oh, I'm in good hands. This is going to get me somewhere. And I don't know exactly where it's going to get me. I don't know if this is exactly my path, but I know that I'm going to benefit from following this person and being in their world and learning from them for the long term, because that's what we want. We all want to be in good hands. We all want to be able to trust the people we follow. And even if the program doesn't include access to the person, we still want to know that they're open, they're thinking always about what our challenges are. And that's going to happen through us getting to know them. So we need to express that, both sides, the skills, the experiences, the confidence in getting a result, and the openness to explore different ways, to keep learning from different people's experiences, to keep thinking about ways to improve and create change, which is very much a coaching mindset and approach. It's a growth mindset. And that is vital to creating a flagship membership program. And when I say flagship, what I mean is that one program that we can put all of our effort into and grow to a size where it's very sustainable, and it is our baseline foundation. It's our baseline revenue. It's our everything, because we can still have other programs on top of that, but you want your one program that you love to be that rewarding and that exciting. And then that becomes the foundation for other things you might want to add on there, like a elite mastermind or VIP coaching. You can do anything once you have a really strong base of paying members. Once you have that, you have so many options on how you want to grow. So our goal is to getting that collective amount of people inside our programs, getting value, excited about it, coming back, staying with us, sharing it with their friends, and coming about it as a niche expert and a coach. So you'll know which one you default to more easily, and you'll know which one, I don't know if that's an archetype, maybe it is, that you gravitate towards more, and the one that you feel more resistance towards. And now bringing those together by spending a little bit more time getting out of your comfort zone, and the one that you're not as strong in is going to really, really help. All right. So wanted to explain that today. I thought that was important to bring up some of those differences. It's a shift in thinking a little bit, just to think a little more deeply on things. And that's often how I like to teach people. I don't necessarily come up with how to solve all the problems, although I have more of that inside the Scaling Deep Society and with my private clients, but it's also just helping you think through the things that are making you stuck and the things that are preventing you from getting out there into the world. And it's a lot of this, sometimes twisting up these problems we have in our head. So with that, I got some exciting things planned for this fall in the next couple months. So stay tuned for new things going on inside Scaling Deep. And if you're not on my list, that's the best way to find out about anything that I'm up to. I really mostly communicate there, a little bit on this podcast for sure, but that means you will never miss anything. And to get into my list or onto my list, and the only way to do it is to sign up for my free training, which is simply scalingdeep.com/training. And once you're on that, you'll be on top of what's coming up. So on that note, it's time to get back to work. Have an awesome week.